Hello, my friends. Welcome back to American Lingo Academy. I'm Fiona, and today we're going to learn another 20 high-frequency English words that you will hear and see all the time in daily life. These words are really important because they make up the foundation of everyday English. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly what they mean and how to use them naturally in your own conversations. Let's jump right in and start building your vocabulary together. Number 1, try. Try is a verb. This word means to make an effort to do something or to attempt something. It's when you want to do something but you're not sure if you'll succeed. Some synonyms for try are attempt, test, or give it a shot. The opposite would be quit or give up. You'll hear this word constantly in everyday situations when people are talking about making efforts, whether it's trying new food, trying to solve a problem, or trying to learn something new. For example, imagine you're at a restaurant and you see a dish you've never had before. You might say, "I want to try the chicken curry tonight." Here's another one. If your phone isn't working properly, you could say, "Let me try turning it off and on again." Number 2, dad. Dad is a noun. This is an informal word for father. It's the casual, loving way children and adults refer to their male parent. Synonyms include father, daddy, papa, or pop. There isn't really an opposite for dad, but you could say mom or mother as the other parent. This word comes up all the time in family conversations, stories about childhood, or when talking about parents and family relationships. For example, if someone asks about your weekend plans, you might say, "I'm going fishing with my dad on Saturday." You might hear something like, "My dad taught me how to drive when I was 16. Number 3, maybe. Maybe is an adverb. It means possibly or perhaps. You use it when you're not certain about something or when something might happen but you're not sure. Synonyms are perhaps, possibly, or might be. The opposite would be definitely, certainly, or for sure. People use maybe constantly in daily conversation when they're making plans, expressing uncertainty, or being polite about requests. For example, if your friend asks if you want to go to the movies tonight, you might say, "Maybe, let me check if I have any homework first." Here's another one. When someone asks about the weather tomorrow, you could respond, "Maybe it will rain, the clouds look pretty dark." Number 4, feel. Feel is a verb. This word has two main meanings. First, it can mean to touch something with your hands or body. Second, it means to experience an emotion or physical sensation. Synonyms include sense, experience, touch, or perceive. It doesn't really have a direct opposite, but you could say ignore or not notice. You'll use feel all the time when talking about emotions, physical sensations, opinions, or when you're touching objects to understand them better. For example, if you touch a sweater in a store, you might say, "This sweater feels so soft and warm." People often say, "I feel really happy about getting this new job." Number 5, friend. Friend is a noun. A friend is someone you like and enjoy spending time with. It's a person you trust and care about, but who isn't part of your family. Synonyms are buddy, pal, companion, or mate. The opposite would be enemy or stranger. This word appears constantly when talking about social relationships, making plans, introducing people, or sharing stories about your personal life. For example, when introducing someone, you might say, "This is my friend Sarah from college." You might hear something like, "I'm meeting my friend for coffee after work today." Number 6, even. Even is an adverb. This word is used to emphasize something surprising or unexpected. It means also or too, but with extra emphasis that something is more than you would expect. Synonyms include also, too, or as well, but even carries more surprise. There isn't a direct opposite, but you could say only or just. You'll hear even all the time in conversations when people want to emphasize how surprising or extreme something is. For example, if you're talking about how much someone loves pizza, you might say, "He loves pizza so much, he even eats it for breakfast." Here's another one. When describing a difficult test, you could say, "The test was so hard that even the best students struggled with it." Number 7. Sure. Sure can be an adjective or an adverb. As an adjective, it means certain or confident about something. As an adverb, it's often used to say yes in a casual, friendly way. Synonyms include certain, confident, definitely, or of course. The opposite would be unsure, uncertain, or doubtful. Sure appears constantly in daily conversation, especially when people are agreeing to things, expressing confidence, or answering questions. For example, if someone asks if you want to join them for lunch, you might respond, "Sure, that sounds great." People often say, "I'm sure we'll find a good restaurant in this neighborhood." Number 8. Find. Find is a verb. It means to discover something or someone, either by looking for it or by accident. It's when something that was lost or hidden becomes visible or available to you. Synonyms include discover, locate, spot, or come across. The opposite would be lose or misplace. You'll use find constantly when talking about locating objects, discovering information, meeting people, or stumbling upon things unexpectedly. For example, if you're looking through your closet, you might say, "I need to find my winter coat before it gets cold." You might hear something like, "I always find the best restaurants when I'm just walking around the city." Number 9. Kid. Kid is a noun. This is an informal word for a child or young person. It's a casual, friendly way to refer to someone who is young, usually under 18 years old. Synonyms include child, young person, youth, or youngster. The opposite would be adult or grown-up. This word comes up all the time when talking about children, family life, schools, parenting, or remembering your own childhood experiences. For example, if you see children playing in a park, you might say, "Those kids are having so much fun on the playground." Here's another one. When talking about your childhood, you could say, "When I was a kid, I loved riding my bicycle around the neighborhood." Number 10. These. These is a pronoun and determiner. It's the plural form of this. You use these when you're pointing to or talking about multiple things that are close to you or that you mentioned recently. The opposite would be those, which refers to things that are farther away or less immediate. These appears constantly when you're pointing out objects, making comparisons, or referring back to things you just mentioned in conversation. For example, if you're at a grocery store looking at apples, you might say, "These apples look really fresh and delicious." People often say, "These are the books I was telling you about yesterday." Before we continue with the rest of our words, I want to ask you for a small favor. If you're finding this lesson helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to American Lingo Academy. We work really hard to create these lessons for you, and your support helps us keep making new content every single day. It really means the world to us. Number 11. Boy. Boy is a noun. A boy is a male child or young man. It's specifically used for males who are young, usually under 18 years old. The opposite would be girl, referring to a female child. You could also say man for an adult male. This word comes up frequently when talking about children, family, schools, or when describing people in stories and everyday situations. For example, if you're talking about your neighbor's family, you might say, "They have 2 children, a boy and a girl." You might hear something like, "The boy in my math class is really good at solving problems." Number 12. Put. Put is a verb. It means to place or move something to a specific location. You use put when you're moving an object from one place to another. Synonyms include place, set, lay, or position. The opposite actions would be take, remove, or pick up. Put is one of the most common verbs in English. You'll use it constantly when giving directions, organizing things, cooking, cleaning, or talking about placing objects anywhere. For example, if you're helping someone organize their room, you might say, "Let's put all your books on the shelf." Here's another one. When cooking dinner, you could say, "Put the vegetables in the pot and cook them for 10 minutes. Number 13. Please. Please is an adverb. It's a polite word you use when making a request or asking someone to do something. It shows respect and good manners. There isn't really a synonym that works exactly the same way, but you could say kindly, or if you would. The opposite would be demanding something rudely without saying please. Please appears in almost every polite conversation when people are asking for help, making requests, or trying to be courteous and respectful. For example, if you need someone to pass you the salt at dinner, you would say, "Could you pass the salt, please?" People often say, "Please let me know if you need any help with your project." Number 14. Happen. Happen is a verb. It means to occur or take place. When something happens, it means an event or situation occurs, either planned or by accident. Synonyms include occur, take place, come about, or unfold. The opposite might be not occur or be prevented. Happen is used constantly when telling stories, discussing events, making plans, or talking about things that occurred in the past, present, or future. For example, if you're telling a friend about your day, you might say, "You won't believe what happened to me at work today." You might hear something like, "What time does the meeting happen tomorrow morning?" Number 15. Much. Much is an adverb and determiner. It's used to talk about a large amount or degree of something. You typically use much with uncountable nouns or in questions and negative sentences. Synonyms include a lot, greatly, or considerably. The opposite would be little or not much. Much appears frequently when talking about quantities, expressing degrees of feeling or opinion, or when asking questions about amounts. For example, if someone asks about your weekend plans, you might say, "I don't have much planned, just relaxing at home." Here's another one. When complimenting someone's cooking, you could say, "Thank you so much for this delicious dinner." Number 16. Stop. Stop is a verb. It means to cease an action or movement. When you stop, you quit doing something or you make something else quit moving or happening. Synonyms include halt, cease, quit, or end. The opposite would be start, begin, or continue. Stop is used constantly in daily life when talking about ending activities, controlling movement, giving directions, or making requests about behavior. For example, if you're driving and see a red light, you need to stop the car. People often say, "Could you please stop making that noise? I'm trying to concentrate." Number 17. Night. Night is a noun. Night is the time when it's dark outside, usually from sunset to sunrise. It's the opposite of day, when the sun is not visible in the sky. Synonyms include evening, nighttime, or darkness. The opposite is day, morning, or daytime. Night comes up constantly when talking about daily schedules, making plans, describing when events happen, or discussing sleep and rest. For example, if someone asks about your plans, you might say, "I'm staying home tonight to watch a movie." You might hear something like, "I had trouble sleeping last night because of the thunderstorm." Number 18. Bad. Bad is an adjective. It means not good, unpleasant, or of poor quality. Something bad is the opposite of something good. Synonyms include terrible, awful, poor, or negative. The obvious opposite is good, but you could also say excellent, wonderful, or great. Bad appears constantly when giving opinions, describing experiences, talking about quality, or expressing disappointment about situations. For example, if someone asks about a restaurant you visited, you might say, The food was really bad and the service was slow. Here's another one. When talking about weather, you could say, "It looks like we're going to have bad weather this weekend." Number 19. Into. Into is a preposition. It shows movement from outside to inside something, or it can mean becoming interested or involved in something. Some similar words include inside, toward, or within. The opposite direction would be out of or away from. Into appears constantly when giving directions, describing movement, talking about interests and hobbies, or explaining how things change or develop. For example, if you're giving directions to your house, you might say, "Turn left and drive into the parking lot." People often say, "I'm really into photography these days. I take pictures everywhere I go." Number 20, those. Those is a pronoun and determiner. It's the plural form of that. You use those when referring to multiple things that are farther away from you or that you mentioned earlier in conversation. The opposite would be these, which refers to things that are closer or more immediate. Those appears frequently when making comparisons, pointing out distant objects, or referring back to things mentioned earlier in conversation. For example, if you're at a store and pointing to items across the room, you might say, "I like those shoes better than the ones here." You might hear something like, "Those were the good old days when we were in college together." And that's all 20 words for today. You've just learned some of the most important and frequently used words in everyday English. Remember, the key to mastering these words is practice. Try to use them in your own conversations and writing. Thank you so much for watching today's lesson. If this video helped you learn something new, please give it a like and share it with other English learners. Don't forget to subscribe to American Lingo Academy because we post new videos every single day to help you improve your English. Leave a comment below and let me know which word was most helpful for you today. I'll see you in the next lesson, my friends. Keep practicing and keep learning.